Yeah. Again, I just feel like this is the most personal we've seen on the documentary so far.
I think that's a good point. I didn't think about it in comparison to some of those previous documentary or episodes. He's kind of like he was these last episodes. He was immortal. He wasn't human. He was
Yeah.
this basketball god, if you will, untouchable, unbreakable, and this was an example, or those last two, or the more recent two, was how we're all human and life happens. So.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And you saw how that was related to his basketball, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess you had the list up last week, so I'll take the duties of going down the list of what we got. First thing, his father's death took a toll on him mentally and physically. That's tough. Like as shown throughout, like him and his father was his best friend. He mentioned that like when he came back, he didn't realize until the first game back, like this would be the first time his father wouldn't be there, stuff like that. So it's just like we got to see like what it really did to his mental state at that time, because we all know like he was at the top of the game, fresh off the three-peat. He said he didn't have any motivation, and then for something like that to happen, that could clearly take your motivation all away. And,
I mean, there was some pretty gruesome, I guess, details. I mean, it's an untimely death. 3 weeks.
uh-huh.
3 weeks. Then how they find his dad's body, and you're actually hearing from Larry Jordan, his brother.
Yeah.
Ahmad Rashad talking about, time is time. It goes back to that human component that you mentioned.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Real tough. Like a lot of people. I mean, it kind of goes into what our very next thing. It kind of just tied right in the suspension conspiracy. And like, not even me just being a huge fan of Jordan. Like, why would they suspend Michael Jordan over his gambling? You know what I mean? And then
did you ever hear about that before the doc?
Yeah. People always said that was the actual reason. Like, the NBA, we talked about this last episode, the NBA was trying to make that jump into like, this to where they're at now, becoming this premier sports league and what they are.
Yeah.
And, if you have your best player gambling, it looks bad. Like, yeah, it does. But look how much money they lost with losing Michael Jordan. I've heard anywhere from $1 to $2 billion, within the week after he retired, that they lost money. So I don't see them making that type of business decision. David Stern was, like they said in the documentary, he was a capitalist. He wanted to make that money.
Mm-hmm.
That was never going to stop. So I'm just glad they put that to a rest. I know still people out there like, oh, it's a documentary. Of course they're going to say that, but it just doesn't make sense to do that. Like, what sense does that make?
Yeah, not if you're a strategist for a business, you're a capitalist. It's not a good move. I mean, you see, you hear David Stern say no. Yeah, many other people call bullshit, bull crap. So
yeah, it was just crazy. David Stern said it. The people that was around the league said it was BS. So I'm just glad they did it. That whole situation.
You was glad it got put to rest.
Yeah, it got put
They go back to what we say, like they always trying to take that man's legacy. So
mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And then right after that, I mean, and then because then he even said like he would come back. So it wasn't like a thing like he just literally needed that time off between his father dying. He wasn't motivated. He just needed that time off. And he hopped right into baseball.
Yeah. And then he got a lot of flack for that. right? I
Yeah.
don't know if we're jumping, but Sports Illustrated. He stopped talking. He stopped communicating with, one of the most prestigious sports publications in the world. And
Mm-hmm.
what were your thoughts on that? Because he says they wrote a piece on him and they didn't even speak to him.
Yeah. He said they came out to the game and all that. A little wild reference. It reminded me when Lieutenant Daniels wasn't speaking to the Baltimore Sun because they had misquoted him or something. And I feel like it was like that, but he just really took it to the extreme. Like he still hasn't spoken to Sports Illustrated. So, I mean, that just shows like a lot of people say, like when the whole Michael Jordan situation, that was like the lowest point they had seen sports media, like just bashing them. You're the reason
Yeah.
for your father's death.
Yeah.
You're hiding up a secret suspension. So I'm just glad it just came to the forefront. And
I was,
Sports Illustrated.
we was, in the group chat. I think I either sent it. I think some AB sent it. And 50, they was asking 50 about his relationship with his son. And, he just had one of them real 50 quotes. He's like, when you pray for success, you don't anticipate what comes along with it, right? So I was thinking about that and some of the agony that Michael Jordan went through as becoming the most popular, not just basketball player on the planet during that time, but people,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was tough. I mean, that just, everyone was saying like Michael Jordan petty, he hold grudges. Like that just shows to this day that he really, yeah, you cross him once and
Yeah.
it's over.
He's about 20 years, 30
Yeah,
years,
that's crazy.
still not
Yeah,
talking to him.
coming up on 30 soon. That's wild. So it's just like, I'm glad he did that.
Yeah.
I'm sure whoever that writer is and whoever approved it, I'm sure they were, maybe they were there long, but that wasn't a good money decision. And then
Somebody
baseball.
didn't
And then
advise him right.
what surprised me was, once they start breaking down the numbers, because, it's always been, oh, Michael Jordan, baseball, that was one of the worst things he's ever did. But then, once they start talking about the numbers, the 13-game hit streak, him not playing baseball in over 14 years, and he was still batting up around 200. And I mean, again, me being a fan, that was good to hear because everyone always said like he was the worst baseball player ever. But then you had people speaking on like, it actually wasn't the worst thing we ever seen, especially from someone who hasn't played since high school. So that was something he
Yeah.
made a commitment to his
And they
dad,
and
and
they and they mentioned that, like the time elapsed to go. They even said, owner Shay, he believes, that's a footnote that there was a lockout. That's a missing footnote in the Michael Jordan story. I guess I don't even want to say Michael Jordan story. Michael Jordan bash party.
yeah. Yeah, no, so, yeah, because people love it. It was like, he quit basketball and he wasn't even good in baseball. Like, come on, man. Come on. Wasn't the worst, wasn't the best. Again, what you just say, the bash party, that's really what it was.
Yeah,
And
occupying
then,
that space as the GOAT early.
yeah. Yeah, and then, like, going into baseball, like we told, he said he lost motivation. You got to look at it. 9 years in, I think Bleacher Report had, they had, like, Tim Duncan, Kobe, Bron, some other Magic, Larry, some other great players. It was like all they accomplished within the first years, and it was just like Mike, first 9 years, and he had plenty of scoring titles, MVPs, 3
Yeah,
championships, and it was just like people were saying losing motivation wasn't a good excuse. You got to find motivation as being an athlete. I'm like, with all that going on in your life, and you just did everything that the people before you couldn't do. Magic didn't repeat. Isaiah didn't repeat. They won back to back right before him. But he just showed he could do what they couldn't. Well, his team could do what their teams couldn't.
yeah.
So
I mean, that's what's I don't know. I don't think it's for guys. It's underappreciated.
yeah,
It's hard to tote that line as GOAT because then there's people that are going to say the greatest ever for the right reasons and they don't want to hear about nobody else. But there's people that we know that are going to try to undercut them, take away, diminish. So
to keep that success is tough. Set the bar that high.
which kind of, I know you know, you talk about losing to Orlando as motivation, using that as motivation. But it's crazy. It's crazy you're looking at a man that one, he said he went, well, two, I actually like this. He said when he was going to retire, I think the owner told him, you need to, before you make a final decision, you have a conversation with Phil, which I
Yeah.
thought was pretty dope. And then he's citing lack of motivation as a reason, which when you're on top, a lot of, fighters, everybody says they're going to do it again, but as you're consistently on top, you got to start to see people lose focus, lose motivation. Happened to Tyson. People say happened to Conor McGregor. I agree. So like, it's difficult to do that. It's difficult to walk away on top and then cite lack of motivation. Like the world, your fans don't want to hear that. They think that's a betrayal of them. And I think too, Mike was very real in the sense that one of the things that's consistent is he's letting us know that I'm not going to live based off other people's expectations or what you want me to do. If I want to play baseball, that's what I want to do. If you don't want to win with me, how episode 7 went out. It's like he was getting emotional, going
Oh
back to
yeah.
him being a
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
He was getting emotional, which lets you know that to some degree, him talking trash or being an asshole to motivate his teammates and the things that have been said about him for doing that touched a nerve. He shows some emotion, rare emotion. That's different for us them Earn Earth videos, and we see emotion. Now he still has it. It's like when they're talking about Scotty making that decision. What you think about that? Scotty decided to.
Oh, to sit out. Mike told us he was selfish. He told us,
Yeah,
Mike and Scotty was
yeah.
selfish. He definitely set out. I mean, the thing, like I would have never set out. But I guess you can understand. Like he the man, he want that shot. But you sent it in the group chat. Tony Kukoc was cold. They pulled up the footage. He was knocking them down.
I thought he was gonna miss it. Everybody was gonna go, "Yay, Scotty, you were right." No, they was like, "Really? You could at least been on the floor. It's a play.
Yeah.
The chances of the play. I mean, in our eyes, looking at Scottie Pippen being on the floor, he's another threat. So you would think that makes the chances of the play being successful. But Phil, being the genius he is, he knew this play was going to work. And honestly, that other team might have been even more confused with Scotty on the bench. The world was. So
and this has been going on since episode 1. There was always an issue with bringing in Tony Kukoc
from the beginning.
from the very beginning. So it's just like every time we see it, it's more layers than Scotty not getting that payday in '97.
Of course. But they led with that.
Mm-hmm.
So losing to Orlando. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
Oh no, he lost to Orlando. I think the thing with, you want to talk about Space Jam right quick? Keep it in order. What you want to do?
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Space Jam.
Let's get to that.
So it's a good time. They about to roll out Space Jam. What do you say? The new legacy. They didn't call it 2. And again, I just think that's LeBron being savvy. They don't want to call it Space Jam 2. They're calling it Space Jam something else. You don't want to be number 2. That's smart. But it was genius. It was genius how he got everybody to come out and play basketball with him while he's at work, essentially. Like he's on the clock and you're out there. And like he used it to his advantage. Like he used it to his advantage. He had the older players out there. He had players like Reggie Miller. He had Grant Hill out there. Of course, his teammates, Dennis was out there. But then he brought in the young guys. Juwan Howard, he wasn't as young, but he was still fresh in the league, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So he got to see like where the league is headed, what I need to work on to stay up with these young dudes, and see what Reggie and them been up to since I've been gone. So it's like it was smart. And it was like, it
Yeah,
was a great facility. Like, they threw it up, but it was a great facility to have.
yeah. I mean, it just shows you where his head was at all times. You
Hmm.
know, at all
Yeah.
times, that's how he was thinking. And you start to wonder, did LeBron do the same thing? Or is LeBron sitting there wondering, like, why didn't I do the same thing? You know?
Yeah. It's it was cool. And then as far as like just Space Jam in itself, I think like that helped. We talk about like Michael Jordan becoming like this global icon. Like, we talk about it all the time. We had the Space Jam trash cans.
Yes, yes,
Like, it was really a part of the '90s childhood. Like, so if your family wasn't into sports, 9 times out of 10, 99 out of 100 times, you saw Space Jam.
yeah. I mean, you talking about true childhood memories. You see
Yeah,
the Looney Tunes, your cartoon characters, your favorite cartoon characters are now on the same screen as the most influential and popular athlete in the world.
yeah,
These kids today, you don't know what you're missing because technology's just advanced everything. So if you watch
yeah,
Space Jam, you're gonna be like, "What is this?"
yeah. It's gonna suck.
So, so that's why we got LeBron James.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. Like you said, all the technology advancements. I feel like players are a lot more media savvy now, so the acting won't be, as mediocre. But
Mm-hmm.
pretty good. But yeah, we could go happen to losing to Orlando. He come back, 20, what was it, 15, 20 games left in the season. He catches a groove, but as they pointed out multiple times, he wasn't in basketball shape. He was in baseball shape. So while you seeing flashes of number 23, Nick Anderson said, "Oh, 45, not the same, not the same." He get the steal on them, makes that statement, come back wearing 2-3, but they still lose. Still wasn't enough. They said his legs wasn't there. So Tim Grover, the famous Tim Grover, says, when you ready, and he was like, "I'll be back tomorrow." Season just ended, and this man like, "I'm here tomorrow." And how he just talked about, he remembered that like he wasn't in shape. He knew he didn't give himself enough time. Like
Mm-hmm.
how they came back that next season, they had won the most games in NBA history up to that point.
Yeah,
They rolled off 72 wins, and like he just a maniacal dude when it comes to that type of stuff. Like, he
yeah.
just remembered that feeling and never wanted it again.
Locking in, maniacal, diabolical. The what's the mailman from the Bullets? That he made up a story.
Oh, LeBradford Smith, yeah, yeah.
You cold,
My man had a
MJ?
good game.
Yeah,
My man, he could never talk about that game with people without them saying, "Oh yeah, you made Michael Jordan mad," and he didn't even
yeah,
do it. That's the sick
yeah.
part.
Michael Jordan made up a situation that was going to be a driving. That's calculated. The driving force in him annihilating or returning the favor. It's another level.
Hmm. Yeah, and this is on the list too. That level of intensity he had all the time. Teammates, I forgot who said it, but they was just like when he came back. That's when he came back. It was just like his focus was just, it was just on another level that no one else could match, and we saw it.
Yeah.
That's why he got into arguments with his teammates, Scott Burrell. I mean, that was the thing. The things he said to Scott Burrell was crazy.
Yeah. Where your mouth at, ho? Oh, whoa. I mean, that's the other thing. Consistency. He consistently had that same level of intensity.
Yeah, yeah.
Consistently had that desire to get better in order to win.
Hmm.
Nothing was going to deter him of that. And you can hear it in the sincerity that he's recalling these events. You
Hmm.
know, how when he says what he BJ, 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 BJ.
Why did BJ think he was gonna be the one that put Charlotte over the top? What's wrong with him, man?
With the way they show him screaming after he made that bucket. Oh Lord, that
Hmm.
was years of oppression. It felt like.
He,
Yeah,
he was just saying, "I know the way they play. I know what they're gonna do." Like, yeah, you may know it. And then I just like, you think about BJ. BJ had a good year too in Chicago. But like by the time he was in Charlotte, he wasn't that same player. So for him to go all out like that, like man, he just making this bad.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever checking Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I do think what's funny though, they said Mike really does take it personal. He bought the Hornets and they still struggling. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like his focus, and man, I need to screenshot it so I can
Consistency.
give proper credit to who said it.
Mm-hmm.
But they mentioned, I think it was Chester Frazier. Chester Frazier used to hoop up. Who was he at? Lake Clifton. Ivan. He used to hoop with Ivan. Remember Ivan? Chester
Mm-hmm.
Frazier. He used to hoop there. He now assistant coach of Virginia Tech, and he said, it's cool to have that. Everybody say they want a Michael Jordan type attitude until you got to coach a player like that. And, he was ultimately giving respect to Phil. Throughout this time, they always say, oh, Phil ain't really had to coach. He had all these players, ain't never had to do nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, could you imagine you being a coach? Like, how would you react if you had somebody with that type of mentality?
It's difficult. It's very difficult to coach. I mean, there's some people that are coachable, some people aren't. But the lion that's hungry or successful, that's difficult. Because like we said, when you start winning, sometimes you get full. You don't have that same appetite. So consistently coaching champions is not an easy feat. It's egos become involved. Essentially, that's what we keep hearing. The Jerry Krause, the this, the that. Like that's the underlying soap opera, if you will. Excuse me, of this series. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then could picking up off that 72 win season, they ran into the Sonics. Gary Payton, fresh off Defensive Player of the Year. Sean Kemp doing his thing. We told this multiple times. Jordan, he got a lot of control over this documentary because he definitely slighted Gary Payton with the laugh. He didn't have a problem with the glove. Like, come on, Mike.
Media savvy.
Yeah, like I think that series he was averaging 32 up until Gary Payton started checking. Then it dropped down to about 22. He only shot about 35% with Gary Payton on him after shooting almost 50. Like he had some issues. He didn't admit it, but he had some issues. I wish they would have touched on how great, Gary Payton was, but it's not his documentary. Of course, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp was, even though they had Rodman, Sean Kemp was still averaging about 22 and 10 on Dennis Rodman. Of course, every point isn't on Dennis, but they gave them some go. I mean, yeah, they were down 3-0, and the series still ended in 6. So they gave them some go once Gary Payton started checking Mike. That was and of course that's the famous Father's Day championship. He was emotional. He was saying how just hearing him sob, like that was really crazy. Like never seen the visual, heard the audio from that. So it was just wild to see it all and hear it.
Yeah, you could tell that there was a lot going on. To what he said, it wasn't Gary. He was dealing with a lot. He kind of let that exercise some demons.
Yeah.
Because they don't really show him being too. You hear stories of how emotional he was, upset about his father's passing, but it wasn't wasn't super insightful. Wasn't like we he's like his mom even said. He didn't. He was very. He's vested with his emotions. He kept them close. So he exercised some demons with that championship for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Could you have, if you? I know we going back a little bit, but you being Scott Burrell, how would you have handled him talking? Like, would that motivate you, or would that shut you down?
Yeah, that's tough because I think he developed that relationship with him from other people. Again, being that, I won't say being that guy on the team, but I've been on teams, I guess, where I need to be that guy, which is someone that's saying and telling someone something to motivate them, and that tough love. But again, MJ was do as I say first, not say as I do. So when you occupy that space, you can operate. If you're telling somebody to do something that you wouldn't do, now, and he said that as well. Like, there's nothing that I told him to do that I wouldn't do myself. And so that's one part to it. It's two, it's knowing your personnel. Like he identified him as a talented player, and then said he just wanted to, push him
Yeah.
mentally, and he lacked discipline and consistency. So I think that's a good evaluation of Michael Jordan, the captain. Some people are on teams and they just want everybody to like them. You don't got
Mm-hmm.
time for that. You're playing a Michael Jordan type personality. Or, there's this idea to treat everyone the same. I believe in fair, but I also understand life's not fair. And some people are going to respond differently. So if I know I'm with the best player in the world, I'd gravitate towards it. I wouldn't let that tear me down. No
Yeah.
one on the documentary said that it was because I didn't reach my full potential because you take Mike away no matter what he said. Because remember, it's what he did first, then what he said. You're looking at champions with an S. Some of those guys have zero. They're never a champion. They're a contender, as in for that guy. So again, that's what comes with success. It's cost or a price to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if like I don't see anybody ever, like you said, no one spoke about like we're not reaching their full potential. Plus, we never heard a player say, I wish I was on another team either. You know what I'm saying? Like Michael Jordan, he get
Yeah,
painted as this big bad guy, but no one has ever said, "Well, I'd rather go play for Seattle with GP, or I'd rather go play in New York with Pat Ewing."
mm-hmm.
That, like you said, it came with a cost, and at the end of the day, they were in that locker room popping Moet bottles, celebrating.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And he said,
um,
battle now, champagne at the end. So
yeah, for real. That was a tough one. Um, this basketball for trash talking. I do think he was the trash talking, the great one. Jeff Van Gundy, or was it Stan Van Gundy? One of the Van Gundy brothers gave him slack in the '90s for saying like he would talk to people during the game to ease them in, and then he would go hard on them. But I'm like, if you talk to any athlete, coach, trainer, whoever, they always tell you, sports is majority of mental. If you fall
exactly.
for that trap, like if me and you talking right before tip
Yeah.
off, and for whatever reason you think we about to be friends, that's your fault. You're not friends when you step on that court, no matter what our relationship is.
Mental warfare.
Hmm. Exactly. So trash talking was there, and then we talked about Tony Kukoc's rise. That definitely offended Scottie Pippen, but he he was a young budding star in the league. I feel like any other team, you would have had a lot more star power. But you're playing with Mike and Scottie, Dennis, Phil Jackson's your coach. Um, and then again, Scottie just didn't like that he was coming in and getting paid and making big shots. So
Yeah. For me, uh, Kukoc, my respect went up throughout this docu series. So I didn't lose respect for Scottie. I understood why Scottie was upset. I don't know if he handled it the best way, but Kukoc was a cold ice in his veins. As far as my trash talking go, he said, "This is it. This is I'm going to be the one to retire Michael Jordan." And let's see, Reggie Miller.
yeah.
Reggie Miller said, and he was really thinking that. He ain't just make
Hmm.
that up for a series. That's the
Yeah.
type of competitor and shit talker he was. So
Yeah. And he gave Mike some go too. Like those were some battles they had, so looking forward to
a
that.
couple of scraps,
Yeah. Scrap it out.
a couple of battles physically without the ball. So
Hmm.
what are you looking forward to these next episodes?
Last two episodes, I honestly,
Final two, yeah.
yeah, I'm ready to see, how they wrap it all up. Of course they go back and forth a lot, and it always relates to what they're going back to. I want to see what they're going to go back to before, this last season rides out. Um, that's what I'm really excited for that, because they like I just said, they go back and forth, and it always relates. And maybe I just can't think right now, but I'm like, what else do they have to go back to so they come back
Yeah.
to '98? I don't know, so I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Timeline. Time
Mm-hmm.
traveler. No, it
Excited.
should be. Yeah, I'm excited too. I like how it ended. That's a nemesis in my mind, Reggie Miller. I
Mm-hmm.
think early you could say Magic, Bird, and Isaiah, but there's limited time. Reggie was there, and
Mm-hmm.
Chuck, Reggie, the Knicks, so Ewing. But that's the thing, Georgetown, Carolina. That's a true nemesis throughout the doc. Um, I think it wasn't as much Jerry Krause bashing these last two episodes.
No, definitely wasn't. Definitely
Yeah.
wasn't.
So I'm prepared
Oh,
for it. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say a funny part about Jerry Krause when they showed him sign his school coach. He was like, oh, number 7 is the
Oh yeah.
most popular number. He had to up his boy. He had to sell him on a few points. Just funny.
He had to grab his mic too. I was
Yeah,
listening to something earlier that said that Jerry Krause might be the most underrated general manager of all time.
depending on how you look at it, I could agree with
Yeah.
that. I
And
could
and
agree.
they didn't say, they also spoke truth too and said what was the goal, like to just sabotage. What was he trying to do? They said, was he trying to sabotage the team that they created, with some of these decisions, but still gotta look at the hype.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, 6 championships in 1 decade. You know, that speaks a lot for the organization.
Very
That
tough to
speaks a
do.
lot. That speaks a lot. But yeah, this last one, I'm excited. As it came out, they just finished interviewing John Stockton recently. I'm sure they have a few other interviews they just did, so I'm just excited to see who else they got speaking on it. If they have Karl Malone, that's cool. If they don't, I'm not a big fan of him, so probably let that.
Yeah,
He's a weirdo
I'm
off
at
the
it either
court.
way.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm just excited. This is what we've been waiting for, The Last Dance. This is really it. They say in the movie you always say the title once, and that there is really here.
I might gotta run it back, 1 through 8. So 9 and 10 come on. It depends how much time I got. I got
Yeah,
I was just watching 8 again. My dad already watched it. He said, for you Fire Stick people, he got all the codes and the links. I said, no, I gotta go. I gotta be faithful to the program. I gotta watch it, each Sunday as they release it. And it give me something to do during this quarantine, which I don't know if we talked about again. Continue to stay safe, wash your hands, take this COVID-19 serious.
oh yeah, for
So,
sure. So the more you do your part, the quicker we out there, and we know everybody want to be out because it's about to be summertime. So
yes. Favorite season of the year. Who you got tail of the tape? Is we got friendly alumni?
yeah, friendly alumni. Yeah, I had to squeeze some friendly people in there before y'all tried to turn this into an Oxon Hill show.
Respect. I don't know how that happened. Seems accidental almost. Or
It was
coincidental. I don't know.
no, it was coincidence. We were just speaking on people we have relationships with. So yeah,
Yes.
tell the tape. We got AJ and we're gonna talk PG County Public Hoops. He led Friendly to a state championship game in '09. Ran into a tough Lake Clifton squad featuring Will Barton. So we're gonna talk about that. JUCO basketball. He went the JUCO route before he went to Dale State, so we're gonna talk about that too.
Each week, those tail of the tapes, some decorated athletes. So if you're a coach or fan of Hoopers or PG County native, there's a lot of good information being discussed A game being given. You know, they say the game is to be sold, not told. So you come find us on a 6-man live and you're getting it. You're getting it. So
Yeah.
my nephew just came down here and turned on the hot roll track. So I'm about to tell him, Ezra, turn that on.
You gotta get.
Thank you.
Try to get CMIT coach on. Yeah, he been tuning in faithfully. Try to get him on here. Tell the tape.
Yeah,
Next
that'd
week,
be nice.
yeah. Next week we got Lamar Butler, so that's gonna be a good one too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And next week is this Friday. Is it this Friday? 15th?
Yeah,
Is it May
15
15th?
in the water.
Basketball County in the water.
Mm-hmm.
PG County hotbed.
I'm ready to see that. I'm ready to see
That's,
that.
That's your birthday too.
Day after. So
Day after.
day after. It's still birthday weekend though. So yeah.
Good thing Greg not in here no more.
Great. MJ, the baseball player, could have been really good. I know you got some things to say, Isaac. Hey, Isaac, explain that. I mean, a lot of people spoke on it yesterday, but can you go to a little bit more detail about what would have made MJ a really good baseball player? I'm not too familiar with baseball, so I definitely need some clarification.
I think he would have been. I think he had that hand eye, like again what we was talking about. That people don't. He's an athlete, and that is an athletic trait. So he had that hand-eye coordination. He had that work ethic. Hearing the coach say, he respected the sport and took it serious. So I think with time, good things could happen. And I think his mental.
That's the only sport you can be 3 for 10 and be a Hall of Famer. Yeah, that's true. That is true. I know that much. 3 times out of 10, you consider pretty good. And then, like Jordan just said, he definitely had to work ethic.
Yeah, can't match that. That was undeniable. So
somebody just try to tap
in. Put that back. You got somebody trying to tap in? On
I think it may be an old one. Isaac and Olu. I don't know if Olu's still in here, but Isaac tried to.
Isaac, go ahead, try to tap in again. Did Olu try today?
He just sent the message. I think I'm seeing stuff late though, because I saw his name on here earlier.
Do I have to jump off for them to jump on?
No. I think so. I mean, you got anything else you want to discuss?
No, I'm just ready for that. I'm gonna be basketballed out, but I'm ready for that basketball county. Obviously, ready for the last few episodes. Next will be our last recap, so I'm hoping to come basically summarize it. So, come and review, and hopefully I can have that list of the playlist done by then. So that's the main reason why we watch it. So it was just well put together. Yeah, it's been put together very well, but it's not done yet. So once it's done, we'll know. We'll know how good it is. So. What? Looking forward to that telling tape.
Huh?
So looking forward to that telling tape.
Oh, I think it's gonna be a good one. Yeah, Brent, that is gonna be. He had that mentality. You got that. A lot of good things come from that.
Yeah. If I jump out, Isaac, you jump on right now.
Yeah, Isaac, if you still on here, Isaac, I can't tell. If you, Isaac, jump off and then jump back on and send a request. There we go. Yo,
what's up? What's up, Mike?
What's up, Isaac?
Hey, yeah, I was going for a run. It's probably windy as hell out here.
Oh no, you good? We good.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right, so like with baseball, like I said, if you hit 300, which is essentially 3 out of 10, you have a fair chance of being a Hall of Famer, right? So to kind of put it in perspective, Mike didn't play baseball since he was in high school, right?
Yeah.
And to hit 202, I think they say he drived in about 54 runs. So he scored, or he batted in 54 points. for the season, and to do that like within like a spring training is kind of good, like remarkable almost, because he haven't seen the pitches. His baseball IQ is essentially where he left off at, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you figure he has a few spring trainings, maybe 2 3 years of minor, he can well hit over 300. You know what I mean? Because
gotcha.
with baseball is the ultimate scouting sport, because you isolate players in situations. Rather, a ball is hit to you, how do what have you, what pitches, like what pitches you hitting? So instead of throwing Mike strikes or things that he can hit, which is good, they just started throwing different pitches. But he didn't have enough time to develop that game because essentially he went back to the NBA. So I think Mike could have been really good. And if you look at other like two sport athletes, especially like Dion was a pretty good. Dion is a pretty good baseball player. He was able to stay in because he had speed, because he had steal bases. But Dion only hit about 230, 240 in the majors, I believe.
Okay.
So if you have talent in specific areas in baseball, you can just play defense, or you should be a utility guy, and you can play in the league for a long time. So not saying that Mike probably been an all-star, but if he would have chose baseball, he would have probably been playing until probably about the same year he retired from basketball. So
he would have had a solid career either way he went.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
one had an exceptional.
Right.
Right. Brant, what you think? We got my man Brant on here. He played baseball back in the day. And, y'all informing me, so this is good. No, this is a good point. Because the thing was, like, you were like, I remember as a kid, even now, you would hear that, oh, Michael Jordan played baseball and it was horrible. Like, it was just that stereotype.
Right.
Bad.
Yeah. But baseball, I feel like it's a little different. I think people's expectations were a bit too high. Given that he was the greatest athlete ever, so it's going to be under the microscope, especially when you say you retired from basketball, supposedly, but you're playing baseball. So if you didn't have no motivation or anything to compete, or maybe it was just basketball, I guess I can see what people, saying kind of got, a little bit, let their opinions out a little bit too much. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I liked last week a little bit better, but this week was pretty good. I like how they start like introducing all these great players that he defeated. Rather it's like, they saw the Celtics and then the Lakers, and then Reggie Miller is coming up next. So, and this is the list is going to keep on going.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
No, go with my bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. So, but yeah, I was watching the '98 finals on YouTube the other day, and I had this question. I had this conversation with Jordan: is that could you still win an NBA championship by like scoring mid-range buckets and playing like, like slow basketball?
Can you?
Yeah.
I think you can. You would have to be the most disciplined team in the world. Because, I feel like, let's look at Toronto and the Warriors, right?
Right.
So the Warriors, they weren't fully healthy. So you don't have KD out there. Clay got hurt. Was Steph out there? My memory is so bad, I can't remember. But you don't have...
Ab talking about what's the verdict on Jordan's dad's death? Did y'all come up with a verdict?
I mean, I think it was a bad situation. I don't think it was some higher level mob thing. I know a lot of people like to believe that. Because somebody had a specific motive because it was his dad, sure, but I don't think his gambler was the reason his father was died.
Right. And who would have known like he would have been he stopped at the gas rest stop or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it is an interesting you can do I looked it up around like 2013, 2014, the guys who were arrested, they appealed because a lot of the evidence, a lot of the stories the police said didn't really match up to what happened. But
Yeah.
I don't know whatever happened to them though. I don't know if they just used them as the,
I'm about
blame
to go finish
somebody.
this run.
All right, Isaac.
All right, man. I
Thank you for
appreciate it,
tapping
bro.
in, bro. Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no
you
doubt.
tapping in. But no, Brent. I read what you said though, Brent. Yeah. So yeah, okay. I'm glad y'all were here to explain that. Yeah, AB. It wasn't no. It wasn't a. We reached a verdict on that. It was a bad situation. And there you go, Murph. 2 idiots committed a horrible crime. That's what it is. Whoever did it, they just committed a horrible crime. That's tough to put it on Mike. But hold on, tapping Murph back in real quick.
That's what we got 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Isaac's points and his perspective on him. And his questions too.
Oh yeah, Isaac. That's a smart guy. So he's got an in-depth discussion already.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brent, he agreed with Isaac. A lot of things transferred. Yeah, baseball was
Two athletes. They both play baseball too, Isaac and right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like you said, I'm ready to wrap it up. Isaac made a good point about, they touched on all the guys so we kept from getting a ring. I think that's a big part. Like, when you talk about Michael Jordan and the Bulls, like there's a lot of Hall of Famers who went ringless, John Stockton, Karl Malone, Reggie, Patrick Ewing, Chuck. There's a lot of those guys who never got one. Let's see who else he played. Magic and them, they had one before.
Yeah.
Portland, Clyde Drexler, he had to go join up with Houston, and they won when Mike was gone. You know what I mean? Like, Houston took advantage of it.
You're talking about great NBA players that came and existed in the Michael Jordan era.
Mm-hmm.
And he separated himself, and therefore he was able to separate that organization from the rest.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
See, you got today. I didn't come prepared.
Yeah. He did a lot in the 90s. And that's the great thing about it. Like, I seen my guy Marcellus, who run Legit Stats, he was just saying, like, a lot of the times he never really saw, Mike in the 80s. Or he didn't look up a lot of the highlights. And I think that's one of the best parts about this documentary. At one point we thought it was going to be solely about this last season. And then we were like, no, it can't be. And they started at the very beginning. Like, to see how dominant he was in the 80s. He wasn't a winner yet, but you could make a good argument that he was the best. He was the most complete player in the NBA because he played on both sides. So
yeah. I feel like it doesn't feel nostalgic. It's like
no.
It's like if you watch. I just started watching the Malcolm X, Who Killed Malcolm X, and it doesn't feel nostalgic at all because I wasn't around. This is informative. When you watch something like this, I was around, but I wasn't around for all of the Michael Jordan journey. But I have vivid memories, but I don't have detailed information. Or at the same time too, we was kids, so you're looking at understanding through our own life experiences now, his life experience, and the time. Again, it's not nostalgic at all. I mean, I'm sure it brings that feeling for some people, but majority, I mean, I'm glued to the characters, and we know the route, we know when they win and when they lose, but we don't know like how he was feeling that day. Like I like the Bill Cartwright story.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all look at it. Bill, that they talk as if Bill Cartwright don't normally do that, Scottie Pippen probably he don't normally, say I'm not going back in the game. So that was just little moments and stories that like that keeping me appreciative of the decision of them to also record back then and then release.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Bill Cartwright, that was another Wild reference I had in my notes. He reminded me of Lester Freeman, that father figure always trying to. Definitely was Lester Freeman on that one. But no, Brent had a good point. He said, "What do you think about it bringing up all the comparisons, in different eras?" Brent, for real, I wish we would all enjoy it, but that's never possible. When Kobe passed, people said they were gonna stop comparing players, but we right back at it. It is two different eras, two different games. Evolution, the game changes. So I just feel like whatever area you put these great players, especially talking about LeBron and Mike, like they adapt. Great players adapt. So I wish the conversation would stop, but it's here. We can't prove it. We can't time travel, do any of that. So I do like it. It's a good debate. Anytime it's a good debate, as long as it doesn't get too personal, people get too heated, it's always a great debate. But it's just something, just take it how it is. And at the end of the day, I need to start screenshotting this stuff when I see it so I give people credit. But you're never going to change someone's mind about it. Like none of these debates, like me and Jordan could argue right now, and he could say Mike is better. I say LeBron. I'm not going to walk out of here and change my mind. Like, oh, then that was the greatest thing I ever heard. I now agree that Mike is the greatest player. But that you're never going to hear that in a debate. So they're fine, but I wish they would just enjoy it, because like right now, you got people not really enjoying seeing the greatness of Michael Jordan because the only thing they could think of, he still ain't showing me nothing better than he was LeBron at. All he could do was score, just little slights like that. So it's pointless.
You said it. We've heard it before. It will continue to be said. The great players adapt.
Yeah. LeBron would adapt it to the 80s and 90s. Michael Jordan would adapt now. He would work more on his outside shooting. Like, that's what happened. And you're right. The great ones are never the ones arguing. It's always the other people arguing for them.
Right.
Always the other ones arguing for them. Yeah. Again, we're looking forward to this last episode. I think I'm going to take a short little break before I get on here with AJ. Because the last time, I think I was tired talking to Boo. No offense to Boo, but I was just tired. All right, we appreciate y'all joining in again. Of course, come with us. Next time is the last time we do the Last Dance recaps. We're going to talk about the last episode, but we're going to try to put in summation of this entire documentary. They sped it up for us, so it definitely gave us something to do during this quarantine. Stay safe. Keep your distance when you go out. Wear your mask.
Yeah, continue to support us. We appreciate it. We got a lot of, we bubbling back up. So we never go nowhere. But just remember where we at now, where we was, and just know we continue to give y'all some content. So next week will be our last recap, but we ain't going nowhere. So
appreciate y'all. I'll be back in a few minutes. We'll holler at AJ. And
tell her to take it.
Yes, sir. Episode 3. We on.